This October, Blue Apron is celebrating its 5th anniversary by bringing back its top 20 recipes from the last 5 years. They're all picked by you, the Blue Apron community. I am part of the Blue Apron community. I love Blue Apron. Your favorite Blue Apron recipes are all back on the menu just for a limited time. Blue Apron is all about giving the people what they want. What the people want is fresh recipes to explore as they learn to cook new dish after new dish. Which is why, and a lot of people don't realize this, they don't repeat recipes within one calendar year. This is what makes this limited time offer so exciting. You can get the best Blue Apron recipes picked by the Blue Apron community right now. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. You can customize your recipes each week based on your own preferences. Every meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card with the pre-portioned ingredients, and they all get prepared in 40 minutes or less. Blue Apron's freshness guarantee promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, and if it doesn't, they will make it right. You can check out this week's menu and get $30 off your first meal with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/Jalen. You will love how good it feels, how good it tastes. You will love creating incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so do not wait. That is blueapron.com/Jalen. Take advantage of this opportunity. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the deck. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood. Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom, boom, boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
You know what it is. What up, Doe?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in, center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new style.
We're Jalen Jacoby. What do we do?
We get to find individuals that have supported this amazing program exactly what they want when they need it for 6 years and counting. Podcast, television, and radio.
Shout out.
There's a lot of discussion today about Patrick Beverley and Lonzo Ball and LeVar Ball and blah, blah, blah. But you know who broke it all down perfectly? Uncle Snoop. Let's listen.
I think that his father put him in the lion's den with some pork chop drawers on. And he'll have to work himself up out of it.
That was very accurate. It was succinct. It was entertaining. After the game, Patrick Beverley, who obviously covered Lonzo Ball the entire day, basically said the same thing as Snoop, but in a nicer way. Let's listen to that.
I just had to set the tone, man. I told him out the game, man, due to, all the riffraff his dad brings, that he's gonna get a lot of people coming at him. He has to be ready for that, and I'll let him know after the game. But
Jalen, do you think all of the bodaciousness of LeVar Ball will actually really affect Lonzo Ball in the National Basketball Association?
No.
You think it's just like game one and all this focus, but by the time we get to January, no one cares?
All of this is media-driven. The same media that were clamoring for the Lonzo Ball era to begin.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers are back. No, they're not.
Not even close.
And while I think he clearly has what it takes to be a productive NBA player, wouldn't be surprised if he made a couple of all-star teams. I like his game. This trajectory of us taking the baton and run it with it like he's coming in the league and being Shaq, Tim Duncan, or LeBron James from day one, that's just not accurate.
But it is not accurate, but don't you think that part of that is a function of his father?
A part of that is a function of his father, but the reason why is, if you notice, like Bundini Brown, for all of you youngsters, you could just Google it. That was Mike Tyson's hype man forever. Lonzo Ball doesn't talk a lot. His father is basically doing the promotions for him. And how about this? Say his father had not said anything about his son.
Okay.
We wouldn't be saying as much about him either.
That's fair, and that's also what Patrick Beverley is trying to say, and what Uncle Snoop is trying to say is that also is going to make it harder on him because of his dad keeping his name in our mouths, and because of we're bigging up this Lonzo experience, like you said, we're all waiting for this Lonzo era that opposing point guards and teams will be focused on shutting him down.
They were going to be focused on shutting down a player that got picked in the lottery anyway that's standing in front of them that's a rookie. That's what happens. So, I got a rookie tomorrow? I'm going to bed tonight. I'm going to make sure I get a good night's sleep. I'm about to handle that. And because, again, his father has been very vocal, as you mentioned, he's not. So it's hard to be that way in theory towards him physically when he's not saying anything.
No, and I watched the whole game. It wasn't that bad. Like, it really wasn't that bad. It wasn't like, oh, he completely shut him down and he wasn't functional in an NBA basketball game. Like, it was a bad game, but it didn't seem like, oh, we've ruined Lonzo Ball forever.
And now his father has a rebuttal for Patrick Beverley and who is he, and he doesn't have his own
Of
shoe.
course. Yeah, blah,
and
blah,
things
blah.
like that. Everybody that's fortunate enough to collect the check to be a professional at something, in this case is basketball, you are somebody.
I'm also kind of putting it on ESPN and other networks that have basically said, hey, LeVar, are you available? LeVar, are you available tomorrow? Come on this show. LeVar, are you available to come on this show? Are you available to come on this show? We've enabled this and we've created this. And somewhere Lonzo Ball is like, I think they are playing harder defense on me because of all of this.
No, you know the theory. Build up to tear down. That's what happened post-game yesterday. That's all. He'll be just fine.
Moving on to Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch was ejected from the Chiefs-Raiders game. We've all seen it by now. There was, the shove, and there was a fight with Marcus Peters. Him and Marcus Peters are very close for a long time, stayed at each other's houses and all this. So he came into the fray, and he was sort of there to calm everything down, to talk to Marcus Peters. And in doing so, he pushed the referee, as you see, very clearly. And then he was ejected from the game, which is natural when you push a referee. That's going to happen. And there were reports that he got dressed, got in his car, and he left. Well, guess what? Didn't get dressed, get in his car, and leave. He stayed in the stands, Bobby Valentine style, and watched the game from the stands. And then, on the way home, him and Marcus Peters took the BART, and they were chanting vulgar things about the Chiefs on the Bay Area Rapid Transit line, which I rode in, which is excellent public transit. So, here we have a night in which he has pushed a ref, broken the rules, snuck back into a stadium, and started a vulgar chant, or engaged in a vulgar chant on public transit, yet he still comes off so likable. What is it about Marshawn Lynch that makes him so lovable?
This is so easy. And what Marshawn Lynch does for public consumption, I promise, I've been trying to do this, and I think it's been successful since 1991.
What's that?
Show that you're vulnerable. You're not perfect. Don't try to act like you live in a glass house. So therefore, when you put this pristine image out there, say like Tiger Woods, now you have people sniffing around trying to say, aha, gotcha, I knew you was a phony. As opposed to Marshawn, I'm just doing me. Do you like it? Cool. If you don't like it, cool.
But it is odd when you look at it. Like, if I was an alien that came here and be like, what did he do last night? I'd be like, all right, he pushed a referee, and then he broke the rules and snuck back into the game, and then he took Bay Area Transit home and was chanting a swear word about the opposing team. I'd be like, well, that's not a very nice guy. But when you experience it, you're like, I love Marshawn Lynch. I want to buy 7 Marshawn Lynch jerseys so I can wear one every day of the week.
And when you talk about enable, as we mentioned with LeVar Ball, it's one thing not to speak to the media for as long as he did. But then all of a sudden it became commercial to the point where he started getting paid as an endorser to do the exact same thing. So when you double down on who you are, you do become likable. People accept and appreciate you for being something that everybody called themselves, but they're not. You know the word? Real.
He's real. Can we have him on the show?
Absolutely.
He's on the guest list, right?
I got him on the text.
Text him up. GQ sat down with Joel Embiid and asked him if he could go back and change anything, if he could give some advice to young Joel Embiid, which is kind of odd because he's about 24. And he replied, quote, I would say, don't ever talk to Rihanna. What? I got a lot to worry about. Basketball is more important. But yeah, I would say don't talk to Rihanna. Don't tweet at her. What do you think about that?
He's somebody that is a lovable personality, a terrific player. If he can stay healthy, the sky's the limit. As it relates to the Rihanna thing, it was one of those bark up that tree, it will fall on you. It seemed like a cute thing to do, but then you realize that I'm kind of being childish here.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting any play. You look back and say that wasn't
But it's also,
good
it's like, Joel, you're not playing in the basketball games. You're giving us something to talk about when you tweet at Rihanna. You're keeping your name in our mouths at least. Now, We're only 1 or 2 games into the season, but we had some things that we thought might happen during the year, and some of what we've seen thus far has confirmed what we already thought. We have some good news and some bad news for NBA teams and their fans. We're going to start with the local Lakers. Some bad news for the Lakers. Guess what? It's not Lonzo Ball you should be worried about. It's Brandon Ingram. Yep. Do you agree, Mr. Rose?
I do, and I talked about this last year, and being an NBA analyst, a lot of times people try to take a personal correlation to why they think that you're talking about a certain player. So for me, it's like, oh, because Kobe torched you, you don't like the Lakers. Or because he went
played
to
at Duke. Yeah.
You don't like Brandon Ingram. I root for all people to get paid to play basketball for a really long time. I just don't think the level of player that they need him to be, and I'm talking perennial all-star, when you're drafting a guy that high in purple and gold, is not his trajectory. And you could say, well, he's still a young player.
He is, young man.
Absolutely. But you know one thing about young players that become perennial all-stars? They start young.
They start, exactly. And also, if you look at the rookie deal, it only lasts for so long. And here he is in the second year, not showing too many signs of perennial all-starness thus far. And we say small sample size, but we've seen a lot of Brandon Ingram.
How many games, and I just want to go for some young players on non-playoff teams. So these are young players, anchor of the franchise, but they still play on non-playoff teams. Anthony Davis. Joel Embiid. Before this year, Karl Anthony Towns and Wiggins.
Anthony Davis made the playoffs once, but sure.
But you still saw them be great young players.
Yes.
And they still weren't good enough to lift their team to the playoffs.
We weren't wondering if Anthony Davis was great. We weren't wondering if Karl Anthony Towns was great. We are still left wondering if Brandon Ingram is great. But let's move on. We've got some good news. Can't all be negative. Everyone predicted that this was the year that Giannis Antetokounmpo was going to break out.
No surprises.
Everyone said it. And guess what? Watch a game or two. Giannis Antetokounmpo is about to break out. He had 37 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals in the opener versus Boston. More action tonight. What do you think the ceiling is for Giannis's year?
So, all of us have our own fallacies of things they hope to get accomplished one day. For me, I like to project young players and be right. But I don't get rewarded because I'm not a GM or president of a squad. So it's not like I get a chance to see that young player become something of a success, and now I get a chance to go to practice every day and be like I try to tell you guys. But this is one of those guys. What were I calling their squad the day he got picked?
Team futuristic?
Just think about that. This was what year is this for him?
This is his 3rd year, I believe?
Correct.
Maybe fourth. Maybe fourth.
And so, of the league players, LeBron James is going to win MVP. The Greek Freak is going to be second.
Ooh.
Remember I told you this. No doubt about it.
I'm not so sure.
No doubt about it. And I'm a voter. I'm already writing it down. I'm already knowing this.
Don't tell them that. They might take your vote away. They might take your vote away.
Hey, man, let me tell you something. To be in the top 20 in all major statistical categories overall, hey, man, the sky's the limit.
Some more bad news. Chris Paul might regret not taking that over $200 million deal from the Clippers that was on the table.
Hit the brakes.
Okay.
It's no might to it.
Ooh.
When you can't finish the first game a win at Golden State because the coach says you were dragging your knee, you cost yourself millions of dollars.
He wasn't healthy last year either.
And whatever that means will be determined, but I guarantee you, and I hate to say this, I love CP3.
Of course. Who doesn't love CP3?
And he's a JRLA
Hanging out
supporter.
with Jay-Z? Bob Iger?
Forget Jay-Z. He's a JRLA supporter.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he was a JRLA supporter.
No question.
A fellow JRA supporter.
No question.
It's part of the fraternity.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. Whenever he does sign, it won't be for that number again.
5 or 200?
200.
I don't think it'll be for either. Let's move on. Some more good news. The good news is for middling teams in the Eastern Conference, the race to lose to the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals is wide open. It's wide open. I could see your Bucks getting in there. I could see the Wizards getting in there. I could see the Raptors getting in there. I could see the Celtics getting in there. It doesn't have this predetermined destiny that it felt like it did before the Gordon Hayward injury.
No surprise. I'm rolling with you on that. Terrible way for Gordon Hayward to start off his career with the Boston Celtics. It
kind of ruined the whole night.
He just, an unfortunate setback. But I'm guaranteeing that's going to be a setup for him to come back and be just as effective as a player. Like I said with Sean Livingston, I said the exact same thing with Paul George, but I agree with you. The East behind the Cavs is clearly wide open because we all know they're winning it, that conference regardless, when playoff time comes.
Some bad news for the Timberwolves. If this is the year that you're going to make the leap and you got this new team and get to the playoffs, you can't get beaten like that by the Spurs. The Spurs without Kawhi Leonard.
That's the key. And I'm glad we broached that topic on this program because we had their game that evening, and that's what, to me, the headlines and the rest of the media overlooked, is that the Spurs are still good.
Well, the Spurs are not that good, and they don't have Kawhi Leonard.
Again, let me just say what you're doing. The Spurs are still good.
I disagree.
You just said it. They won without Kawhi Leonard.
I think that's more about the Timberwolves than it is the Spurs.
That's more about the Spurs.
Finally, our final piece of good news, Jalen Rose. I know it's very early in the season, so we don't want to make predetermined, conclusions. But the waves on Countdown look great this season.
Thank you.
The waves on Countdown looked excellent. Like, you must have been brushing and putting do-rags on. I don't know what's happening. Look at those waves. And they look so good. By the end of the season, I think that we are going to see some much improved waves. Like, you could surf on those waves. You could surf on those waves. Look at you, Jalen Rose. You really stepped your game up. You got to add something new every year, the Podfather told me, and you've decided to add waves to your game, and I congratulate you.
Thank you, family. I give all salute and homage to Reggie on the board. Without him, there would be no way.
Shout out.
We always give the people what they want. Again, we're preempted by baseball on the radio today, so we're going to do some exclusive content for our podcast listeners, our favorite fans. Love people who listen to the podcast every day.
Yes, indeed.
On Reddit, there's a whole community of people that listen to the podcast, and they comment on the podcast, and they send in questions. So if you go to reddit.com/r/Jalen Jacoby, make sure you sign up, subscribe to that community. I'm in there checking out what people are saying about the show. And we got some questions from Reddit. Soft move or boss move? This is from Cornrow Mello. Gaining some thickness to play bully ball and pickup. And I'm not talking about in the gym. I'm talking about the buffet. So Cornrow Mello is putting some little extra weight on himself so he can play bully ball, but I think he means push people out of the way at the buffet.
It's definitely a boss move.
Okay, good.
Anytime you're trying to be more physical in sports, that's always a positive
Always
thing.
A boss move. This one's from R. Parker NU, also from our Reddit. Can Jalen pull us behind the curtain on the process when NBA players get traded? Does the new team pay for relocation? Great question. How does it work if the player has a family? Great questions.
So it basically works like this. Usually, if you're a productive player, you kind of see it coming. Because, and I don't want to get too technical here, but people still forget that the NBA is what kind of basketball?
Professional.
Correct. And so, which means if there are 30 NBA squads and 15 players per team, when you're selling tickets and selling jerseys, these individuals also have fans. So if you're going to move somebody that's been a productive player, you have to start justifying it for a lot of people so they're not upset at the squad. Like people were as Knicks fans, for example, when they traded Rod Strickland. I know people that felt like they never wanted to root for them again.
I used to be a Knicks fan. They had Strickland, then they traded him. Ever since then, son, I hated him.
Boom. And so that example came to me because what ends up happening is the local media and the team start to sully your name. The things that you were already doing and allowed you to still be a productive member of the squad now irks everybody. I saw it happen with Vince Carter. They started paying attention to where his mom parked at the game. And now all of a sudden his injuries became a big deal to the point where they eventually ran him out of town. And I'll never forget waking up one day and I said, we traded Vince Carter to the Nets? Great.
Who we get?
Did we get Jason Kidd in return?
Keith Van Horn?
And by the way, I loved my brothers that we brought back from the trade, Eric and Aaron. I'm just saying, like, Vince is the future Hall of Famer. So initially they sully your name. They start talking about things that people don't see. Like, oh, Jacoby's not working as hard.
In practice.
You know, his attitude has changed.
Yeah.
You know, all things that you can't truly quantify.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start lowering your minutes, taking away your opportunities. Because guess why? If they know you're not going to be there, they're going to start
preparing for life without you. You got to prepare for life without Jalen Rose.
Correct.
Guess what that means? Less Jalen Rose on the basketball floor.
Correct. And so that is normally what happens. And
do they pay for relocation?
The new team pays for relocation. As it relates to your family and friends, they care nothing about your personal well-being.
Yeah.
It's, we trade you, you got 72 hours to report, and you got a game.
Yeah.
And or practice.
So it's like, oh, if you have a wife and 3 kids at the house, guess what? You're going to be in Chicago, and your wife and 3 kids are going to be in Indianapolis, and you can deal with that on your own. Get a nanny. Moving on, if you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us voicemails. Ladies, don't forget, every Wednesday we do female-only voicemails. Ladies, we always need you to participate. Make sure you call up 985-80-JALEN, leave us voicemails for next Wednesday. Fellas, we got plenty of voicemails from you like this one.
What up, though? Jalen Jacoby, it's your boy Phil from Brooklyn. Want to give a shout-out to Reg. Want to give a shout-out to the other 11 people that's working behind the scenes doing their thing, making sure that, you know, y'all always got a dope pod to step to, and I got something to listen to while I'm here at work doing my Thug Nizzle and whatnot. So, I got 2 things I want to say and ask. Well, you guys got to work with me right now, so I had a little bit of Snoop. So, yeah, that's kind of like not a bad example, but quick thing. So, Jalen, while you in the city or whatnot, are you going to ride the train? You know, you're in New York City. Last time I remember listening to one of the pods, and yo, you got to ride the train. Jacoby, make him ride the train, man. You and Molly, get on the train. You know, y'all can hit it, take some pictures for the gram or whatnot. We could be like, yo, my man Jalen done rode the train, the whole crew. Other than that, my next thing is it a soft move or a boss move? So a while ago, my girl, she always see me playing NBA 2K, and she wanted to learn how to play. So I taught her how to play. So it was a while ago, I had the fellas over these old tunes and whatnot, and I was like, yo, I bet any amount of money that my girl could beat at least a couple of y'all in a couple of games. So with 4 dudes, my girl ended up going 3-1. So boss move or soft move, teaching your girl how to play 2K and hustling your homies out of some bread. Get back at me, let me know what you think. Yo, thanks for having a good pod for me to listen to while I'm here at work at night, and not, you know, keep my mind excited and keep me juiced up. Yep, with this, Snoop. Holla.
Love Phil.
We appreciate the shout and the love.
Can I start with the train thing?
Of course.
Here's the thing. I'm a New Yorker. I lived there for 15 years. The train's the best way to get around. And the people that don't take the train, they think that, oh, like they're a little intimidated by it or whatever. It's simply pragmatic. It is the best way to get around. And people are clowning Phil Jackson or whatever for riding the subway. Like, it's just the best way to get around. There's a lot of traffic in New York City. I don't know if you know this. A lot of people on a small island. The fastest and most efficient way is to take the subway. Now, someone like Jalen Rose. I understand if you're there in New York, you're by yourself, you don't want to have to ask questions about whether this is going uptown or downtown or where do I transfer, how do I transfer, how do I get to the red line from here when I get off the blue line. I will be there with you, Jalen. We will ride the train. Actually, I think we're all going to be in the same neighborhood the whole time, to be honest with you. But Jalen has said to me on multiple occasions, I need to learn the train system.
I want to ride the train. I look forward to the opportunity of riding the train. It's something ever since I started watching movies like Beat Street on TV. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ride in the movies. I wanted to ride the train then. I was like, I can't wait to get to New York, break dance, and ride the train.
Trains look different now, but yeah. So here's the difference. Here's the difference between you and me, though. Like, you're famous. And here's the thing. When you're walking in the streets, you can say what up to people, give the people what they want, take a picture, give them a pound, keep it moving. Problem with being in the train car. Can't keep it moving. You're kind of stuck there in a tin can underground, and when people are hollering at you, maybe they're, you know, a little aggressive with it. They want you to give them some money or something, and then you're going to have to talk to them because you can't leave.
And also, Phil, I just have to say, some of my favorite people, I was just writing down a couple of names, represent Brooklyn, like DJ Clark Kent, Big, Fab, Mos Def.
Lance Stevenson.
Do they have...
Mo Badanga.
Do they have Biggie a statue in front of where the Nets play?
You know what? Let's make one. Let's make one and bring it there.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's make one and bring it there. That's my old neighborhood.
And definitely it's a boss move teaching your wifey how to play NBA 2K.
Phil knew we were going to say it's a boss move.
And hustle everybody that you can.
Uh-huh.
No doubt about it.
Split the money, though, 50-50.
And the other good thing about her learning to play the game, more quality time together.
Exactly. Thank you so much for the call, Phil. Remember, if you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail just like this.
Yo, Jalen Jacoby. Hey, man. I heard y'all coming to New York. Yo, stop by my crib. We're going to have a barbecue. Y'all invited. You invite me to your show, I'll invite you to my house to have a barbecue. Excuse me. I got some food in my mouth. I'm eating a croissant right now. I'm on break. Yeah, but, yo, stop by. Y'all coming to New York. You family, I'm family, Fab's family, it's a New York family. You come through for the barbecue, man. Come eat. Yo, hit my Twitter handle, Y7 out for the address. You can come to the barbecue, man. All right, y'all, peace.
What time's the barbecue? He didn't tell us what time it was at.
He said we could come anytime.
Anytime? Is he really having a barbecue?
He would. It seems like if we were
hit
going to be there.
Hit him before,
no question.
ahead of time?
First off, we appreciate the invite.
And I appreciate barbecue.
That's love.
Yeah.
And we love barbecue.
Yep.
Yes, we will be in New York City Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
I think at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And then we're going to the Knicks game.
I heard they're already at capacity at the event, though. So if you didn't get in...
Really? It's New York City.
Sold out.
No such thing as capacity.
Sold out. They have to fire
Standing
fire
room
marshal.
only.
Everyone always blames the fire marshal. Oh, you can't get in the club. Fire marshal rules.
Standing room only.
Next question we have is from Big Crown, co-producer Big Crown, the greatest mail carrier in the history of mail carriers.
Shout out.
Big Crown's family actually started the Pony Express. Did you know that?
I did not know
this.
this.
Big Crown's ancestors originated the Pony Express. They've been getting letters to and fro around this country for decades, if not centuries. I love Big Crown and his family full of mail carriers. His question is, Jacoby, is Seinfeld the cultural? I love it. Is Seinfeld the cultural? I think it means, is Seinfeld cultural? No. It's not. No. But it's close. It's not cultural, but it's close. The same way Star Wars isn't cultural. I would say it's predominantly people that look like me that are really into Seinfeld.
That makes it cultural, sir.
Predominantly, though. Predominantly. I'm saying it's on the line, but I'm going to say no, it is not cultural.
I say it is.
Reggie's pushing no over and over because Reggie loves some Seinfeld. Yep. And now that I know his name is Jerome, can't be cultural. His name is Jerome. The lead of the show is named Jerome. It's not cultural. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Jalen and Jacoby, what up, though? This is Riley from Denver.
Yep,
on my last voicemail, I may or may not have been on my medicinal. That's neither here nor there. I got a couple things. First thing, when I'm listening to the pod, sometimes I hear a text chime go off. I'm like, is that my phone? No, it's Jalen's phone, not on vibrate. Come on, bro. Second, when we leave voicemails, sometimes you get to rambling like I did last time. If you had that feature where you could listen to the voicemail before you actually submitted it, maybe that would help Reg out. I don't know. But my question is, with the kangaroo apocalypse, if it does come to fruition, as Jacoby says, Jalen, are you going to go back to Fat Jalen? Because you would just, blend in with the kangaroos. Let me know. Peace.
Riley's on that strong medicinal because that is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yep, medicinal.
Let me just tell you a quick brief thing. I think the kangaroos are going to try to take over in the same way the apes took over in Planet of the Apes. I'll give you my reasoning later. Jalen Rose, when he gains weight, looks like
a kangaroo.
Why?
Because when I'm fat and out of shape, my stomach and my butt stick out simultaneously in opposite directions.
Like a kangaroo. So now, when the kangaroo apocalypse is happening, all you got to do is gain 50 pounds. They won't even notice that you're not a kangaroo. Riley, brilliant. Brilliant, Riley.
Myself, I know somebody else who will be able to survive, too. Boris Diaw.
Oh, yeah, Boris Diaw. Boris Diaw is collaborating with the kangaroos. Telling you. He is. Let's listen to one more voicemail.
What up, dog? Yo, it's Charlie calling out from San Francisco. Well, I was listening to yesterday's podcast, right? And I just finished, but I heard that Jacoby, was a Family Feud champion. And low key new listener to the podcast, I never heard about the Family Feud victory. So, check it out on YouTube. And I see a video, and I check it out, and Jacoby just takes it to the bank. He carried the team home. I mean, he put Jalen Rose on his back. And the beautiful thing about the video is that I didn't even see Jalen Rose's answers. He edited the video for just Jacoby. Like, literally just Jacoby's answers. I saw the answers because they were on the screen before, and they didn't look good. No offense, Jalen, shout out. But Jacoby put the team on his back, though. It took it home. That was sick. I ain't gonna lie. And, hey, Jalen, you gotta, get this guy a massage or something, because his back hurt on the way home, bro. He carried you, man. But anyways, shout out the podcast, and shout out Reg, shout out Carlos, shout out Baron, shout out everybody. Y'all have a good day. Yep, medicinal.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate the love.
Do we get any sober voicemails today?
And today's show definitely has a theme.
It does.
Yep, medicinal.
And here's the thing. I applaud those that support our program. So don't feel like you can't call, be a part of the family, and or chastise, nudge, or challenge one of the members of the show.
No problem.
No problem at all. We're not that sensitive. We don't take it personal. Here's something I must say on wax.
Okay, bring it.
A lot of people that are celebrities or public figures, big brothers, friends, have major egos or whatever, please listen up, put your ear to the speaker. I don't always have to be the standout, outstanding, look at me member of the squad. Jacoby carrying the team, I'm perfectly fine with it.
It's a team.
I didn't think twice about it.
Amina, Jimmy, Ben, they all carried us through the early rounds too. It's a team effort.
Especially when we were doing it for the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy, where my brothers run a marathon for us. He sponsored a couple of students. As a matter of fact, that level of support, along with two of our guests today, Brian and George.
New
They're
family
also
members.
Here, you know what I mean? Representing Northern California. So, based on what he saw on Family Feud is just right. Jalen, yes, may be the person that a lot of people have named their son or daughter after. My mom gets all of the credit because she made up the name. But it is great that Jacoby's a superstar player at Family Feud.
They better have me back for All-Stars or something.
Correct.
They better have me back for All-Stars.
There has to be a speed round score minimum, maximum.
And Jay, let's be honest, let's be real. You've been close to a lot of championships.
Correct.
And I'm just so happy that I can provide you the championship that you've always missed out on.
No question. I'm glad you didn't call timeout.
We got one more voicemail.
J&J, this your boy Jay Smooth giving you a call from ATL. Originally I was going to let this slide, but it just kept becoming a continuing issue. For the last couple of weeks, you guys have been unable to get the opening intro in order. I find this unacceptable. That's usually the best part of the podcast, getting ready and pumped for the give people what they want. But you guys just can't seem to get on one accord now. I'm very upset. So as a form of protest, I'll be taking the knee until you guys are able to get the intro correct. And it used to be cultural to send a sternly worded email, but I'm going to take it on my part to send a sternly worded email to the execs at ESPN who don't see the show at 2 o'clock a.m. to let them know exactly what's going on at J&J. Consider this as a warning. You are put on notice, and I will be mentioning all of your names. So you are all consider yourselves jammed up. I'm going to mention your names. No shout-outs for anyone until you guys get the opening intro straight. I'm out. Peace.
I like that Jay Smooth. You know, he came with some tough love there at the end.
Peace up. A-Town down.
Jay Smooth is like, look, I love the show, but you know what? If you guys aren't performing, I'm going to call up and let you know. And another thing is I love Enter the 36 Chambers album. And one thing I love about that album is RZA would just push record, and if you messed up, he'd just be like, keep going. We're using this take. And that's what we do here at Jalen Jacoby. We could re-record the intro when Reggie messes it up, and I say Reggie because Reggie's usually the one that messes it up. But that's not what we get. That's not how we get down here. Everything goes on wet, Reggie.
Whoa, so hold on.
Hold on, Reg. Stop.
You cook.
I'll say that we've probably messed it up 8 times. I've messed it up probably 2 of those 8 times. Jalen's messed it up 0 of those 8 times because it's really important to Jalen that he gets it right. You messed it up the other 6 times, Reggie. So listen, I'll own my 25% of this. You need to own your 75% of this. Jalen, now Reggie's in my ear saying 3 times he messed it up.
This is a perfect example that represents the opposite of what I just said to the caller about Family Feud.
Exactly.
Right?
Throw each other under the bus at any time you can. That's what family does.
Especially if you're right.
I might have messed it up 3 times. Thanks so much. Don't forget, we'll be in New York City on Saturday. If you were lucky enough to join us, we look forward to doing that. We'll be back on ESPN 2 and with the pod on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there.
We're not done. We're not done.